Judy and I are going to talk about what FAPE, F-A-P-E means, which is free, appropriate public education. We have one leading recent landmark Supreme Court case that held that FAPE does not mean that child needs are met just by making minimal progress. The child IDEA, which is the federal statute governing special education, according to the court, demands that an educational program is reasonably calculated to enable a child to make progress appropriate in light of the child's circumstances, which seems to highlight the individualized nature of this determination. Each child is different. Needs of each child are different, and it's essentially a case-by-case determination, but no progress or minimal progress will not satisfy FAPE under this decision, which builds on a decision from the 1980s, the Rowley decision, which was the first case decided by the Supreme Court interpreting this federal law. So F in FAPE means free, which means no cost to the parents. A is appropriate, which is what this Andrew F., this most recent decision, seems to try to get at. Public means at public expense, and education are educational services, but they go beyond what is commonly considered an educational service, and Judy's going to talk about that a little bit.
So education really goes beyond what we traditionally think of as education: reading, writing, math. Schools are responsible for children's social and emotional learning, for motor skills, it could be life skills, and they're responsible for students with disabilities really in Illinois until the day before their 22nd birthday. And part of the law is that it prepares students for life after school, which could mean going to college, it could mean independent living skills. So it's really quite broad when we're talking about what constitutes an education. And parents need to understand that. So when the school tells you potty training isn't part of an education, it is, because anything that's a life skill that the child will need for adult life falls under their protections under IDEA. So in determining FAPE and whether or not your child is receiving a FAPE, how do you know? Well, one of the best things that parents can do is learn how to chart their child's progress from year to year. Remember that the district is responsible for your child making gains, and that goes back to that law that Phil was talking about, the Andrew case. You can see how to chart your child's progress on another one of our videos at our website at breakingautism.com.
Whether a child is receiving FAPE is really the ultimate issue in most due process hearings.
I was just going to say, FAPE is what makes a due process case in almost all the time.
Almost all the issues revolve around whether a child is receiving a FAPE. So parents should at least have some understanding of what kinds of progress they're expecting their child to make, what the goals are in the IEP. We've previously talked about that, but the goals and whether the goals are appropriate and meaningful, and whether they flow from the present levels of performance are important parts of the IEP for the parent to be aware of. Okay, when you're preparing a student for life after school, you would look at different skills that you think you would want them to have, or they want to have, because they should be, if they're able to participate in that transition planning process, they should participate. You would look at different activities that you would like them to be able to participate in. And if they haven't mastered those skill levels, you would look at services that would help them do that. So you're looking at different skills at different points in their career. And if you're looking at just being able to get into a school bus, that's perhaps one part of their school career. But if you're looking at them doing other things like getting around an apartment or getting around town using, various municipal services or leisure activities or whatever it is they want to participate in, those could be a whole different set of skills that they would have to learn to be able to do that.
A lot of times districts will say that the child just needs to be able to access their education. And so to them, that means get around the school. The way you get around that is by really looking at that criteria that's required for the child to be able to live independently after they age out of school. If you use that criteria and explain to the district that the child needs the skill in order to go to work every day, in order to go out in the community, and those kinds of things, usually you can, meet somewhere in the middle and come up with some agreement as to what type of services the child really needs.
Well, the transition section there's a school code section regarding the Illinois school code section on transition. Post-secondary transition is almost identical to the federal law and rules on post-secondary transition, except we have adopted a few other things in Illinois. We require at least one independent living skills goal in a transition plan. Federal law makes it optional. We require it. So when you get to the transition age for the child, and you can do it previous to that too, you can do it at a younger age, you're looking at a different set of skills in many instances, not just being able to get around the school. You're talking about adult living, post-high school living.
Transition is a huge subject in and of itself. So
yeah, and a lot of parents don't know to raise it as an issue. I mean, I've seen IEPs that for kids that are 17, 18 years old that don't have transition plans in them. And that's ridiculous at this point in time. It's been the law for decades. I would start thinking about it at least, depending on the disability of the child, I would start thinking about it at least in junior high school. 12, 13, start thinking about what you'd like for your child when they age out of high school. Some kids will graduate and not participate to age 22. In fact, probably the majority of kids don't.
Right.
Because post fourth year, post senior year, a lot of them are put into non-academic activities, some vocationally related or other types of activities that are not academic oriented. But then some go to community college, some go to four-year schools, some go into vocational training, some go into career technical training. There's there's a wide range of options, and it really is an individualized planning process.
I was just going to say that all of those are IEP team decisions.
Yep.
So.
With the parent.
Yes. FAPE is a really large issue. We've touched on some of the major points. If you need any more information, you can find it on the website at breakingautism.com, or you can call us and we can help you